I'll take notes, JP. I don't think we have that.
What?
I said I'll take notes if you want.
Oh, no, geez. If you think you can, that's great. That's better than
Working
me.
it there.
This is the October 8th, 2014 meeting of the City Finance Subcommittee. First on the agenda is minutes from the prior meeting. Do you have a chance to read Dan's minutes?
I have not.
Okay, I did, so we'll put that off to the next meeting.
He's not here, so.
Mayor's communication.
I can provide you with a quick update on what's been happening all day.
That would be fine.
I know you were there, Dan, so you probably have the update, but I don't know if you're interested, JP, as to what's happening.
I always love updates.
It's what, I mean, on the, the mountain, totally different subject. I know it's not, well, it actually will be finance related.
Eventually.
Little heads up at some point in time.
Yeah.
So, happened about 4:45. I got a call from the chiefs and the captains, and the police chief picked me up, and we checked the area out, tried to walk. It was completely 100% unsurpassable by foot. 2 cars were trapped on there, 1 person in each vehicle, 2 houses, one at the bottom of the Raymond's property, one at the bottom of Hoyoke Street, had a tree on it, fell on their living room. The other one on Hendrick Street fell on their bedroom while they were in bed sleeping. So I guess the most important and the most incredible thing is, just short of a miracle, nobody was hurt. So first thing we did, I declared a state of emergency. We contacted MEMA and FEMA, and we are definitely going to have to document every single expenditure on it. As far as pictures, I mean, I can't take many more pictures, but and put them on our Facebook. But we have the state police were there, so we also have aerial. I actually called Pat Bruff to come in and bring his drone, which he was thrilled. And also Captain Alberti went up in the helicopter, and we have aerial photos, like definitely. Yes, so we have those too. So we'll have to keep track on it. Our fear, I heard from the governor, I heard from U.S. Congressman Neal, Markey, Senator Humison, and everybody else I can possibly think of, and they've all offered their assistance. But luckily, it was really our community and not all the surrounding communities, so we didn't have to fight for help. So everybody was there. We had Northern Tree Service, Mass Highway, or Mass DOT, you name it. Every emergency vehicle was there, and even the forestry were there. So our main concern was to get Hendrick Street cleared and open, and by 7, 8 o'clock tonight, at probably maybe by noontime, there was only 5 people on Hendrick Street without power. So they're estimating, I just got an update from Western Mass Electric, Northeast Utilities, saying that they were going to turn everybody off for a very short period of time so they could regenerize, and hopefully by 7, 8 o'clock tonight, that road will be passable.
Hendrick Street.
Yes, let's be clear. Hendrick Street, and we'll also have power. As far the last update I just received regarding the mountain is it's estimated to be closed until noon on Friday. The trees down, the extensive damage. When I went back later on, and I just came back to check my calls and went back, and I was able to get up on the Kubota, because this morning you couldn't see anything other than you could.
Right, trees.
Yeah. So looking at all the treetops that are just look like pickup sticks that are all cut the tops off. We were thinking that was all the damage. Well, that isn't. I mean, that's thousands of trees, but they're all from there under are all uprooted. So all the big roots that you see on the photos from down under, all the trees on the left-hand side of the mountain going up are like that. So that amount of damage, and I was talking to our highway supervisor, Jim Kieska, and we were measuring to where the city property ends and the state begins, hoping that will be their cleanup, because that would just be, it's devastating. I think the saddest thing is when you're going up the mountain and you look to the left now, you see the top of the range, no trees.
No trees.
Yeah, and you look to the right, it looks exactly the same. So
what about possibility of erosion?
Right, well, the huge possibility of erosion. So I asked, okay, how do you get all those trees out of there? Because it's thousands, like, and the experts from, the state were saying, well, actually, when it's that much devastation, you leave them there. And I said, well, all of them are uprooted with the roots facing toward the mountain and the tops facing toward the road. And they said, well, you leave them there and they just eventually just decay and die and whatever. So it's a lot more damage than anybody could ever have imagined just looking at it this morning. So now that they have the roads surpassable, just big enough for vehicles to get up there to clear it. And but it's just one of those things where if you're standing at the Tavern on the Hill, the tavern is completely untouched. No leaves, no debris, no nothing. You look across the street to the Mount Tom Reservation entrance, completely devastated, and their whole road is completely devastated like our mountain road is. So it's just one of those things.
How far down East Street on the range did it go? A little ways down East?
Well, if you...
I know it didn't do damage, or there's
No.
a few trees on East
Right,
Street, but
but
up on the range itself.
You're right, Dan. The houses look pristine.
Right.
But if you look behind them,
Right,
you can
you
see
can see they're
all
all
the
gone,
tops.
right.
So what they think, but they're sticking with the microburst, 100-mile-an-hour winds, and they said it would have been fine if the wind came 100-mile winds, but it hit the mountain.
I see.
So if they could have just blown over the mountain, it would have just kept on blowing, but that's what caused the microburst. It hit the mountain and came down, but they think it started right at the top where the reservation is and just went, and if you follow the trail, you can see that's exactly where it went. But it goes like past Fior's house and everything on East Street. So, but luckily, no damage to any of their
the homes
yards,
there, right.
to any of their houses.
Yeah, I saw just a couple of tree limbs and stuff down on the
Yeah.
road, but no damage
Right.
like on the mountain.
So everybody has offered their assistance, like I said, the governor, the U.S. congressman, and I said, well, the only thing we need right now is because we have Dan was there with me and I was on the phone, I said is, hitting a threshold for FEMA and MEMA, sometimes it's astronomical, so our community, although we might not hit the threshold for reimbursement, we will hit overtime in police, fire, DPW, and all kinds of expenses, tree removal, you name it. So I said that we would be seeking their help to provide reimbursement to us, even though we might not meet any threshold. We're certainly going to, have some huge finances. So we're going to keep track of everything and do the best we can and see what happens. So little update that you might be getting something coming your way. We're definitely going to have some expenditures.
In terms of the culverts that are on the road, have they been examined?
You can't even see them. You couldn't even see the ground. You couldn't even see the road. The trees, like you're talking mammoth trees, it was not walkable, not passable. You couldn't even move. So what they've got now is basically almost half the mountain is passable, the right lane going up, just so that they can get their trucks up there. You can't see anything.
So till they clear the trees.
Exactly.
Then they'll have to assess.
Yeah,
Because I'm thinking of
The macadam and the
culvert
culverts.
problems we had on East Street, and the culvert problems we had in the past
Yep.
on Ferry Street. That it just wipes out everything and can create, we think we're bad now, it
Right.
could wash away everything.
Yep.
So
So
as soon as we can get to that.
But it's absolutely devastating. There's no doubt about it. But nobody hurt.
Hurt.
What are 4:45? That was 5:45, 6:45, 7:45.
Be a lot of
Yeah.
people on that going
Yeah.
both
Right.
ways.
So-
Cars are still on the road, the ones that were stuck there?
No,
Well, they're
they were
both
out of
on.
there. The first thing the police and fire did, their first responders, is, basically trenched up the mountain to see if there was anybody on it. They found the first vehicle was a pickup, had one driver in it. He actually, both vehicles said they were picked up in the air, and he was pushed back 20 feet. He's got a broken windshield and all that, but totally unharmed. So the first thing they did is, got on the speaker and said, do not get out of your vehicle. He had wires on his car. Then they went further up, and the Mini Cooper, that's the best
That's
one yet.
the one,
The Mini Cooper.
Convertible.
Convertible. That was further up, and that was actually where the curve is. So it took them a while to get to that. So what they did is they just got the people, they had the power turned off, made sure the power was off so the lines weren't, hot, and then escorted them down the mountain. Not too long thereafter, tow truck was able to get the pickup truck, but that was, what, about 2 when the Mini Cooper came
like
down?
1:30ish or something.
Yeah, and actually one of our highway crews drove it down, and it has no damage other than the front passenger headlight, the glass on it has a hole this way.
About
That's
the
it.
size of a golf
The
ball.
yeah, the bulb is the whole, yeah. So that's pretty incredible. But the rest of it is, you know,
It'd be scary.
pretty horrific, you know. But it's just the fact that people aren't hurt is really what you have to concentrate on. The timing of it was really
It's
very,
lucky.
very beneficial to
Usually a
us.
couple hours later when everyone's commuting to and from.
Can you imagine? You've seen that trail.
Oh, yeah, that's, I mean,
You
it's
know?
one car right
and
up
it
there.
goes from the bottom
Right
right
up
to
there.
91.
Yep.
So, you know, and there's nothing on the Holyoke side other than it starts at the Mount Tom Reservation entranceway, which you can't even see the entranceway.
That's covered. Is that right across from,
Completely
as you said,
covered.
Tavern
Yep.
on the hill, and then you said nothing over there.
Yeah, crazy. So anyway,
Thank you.
heads up.
Okay.
And I'm sure you'd be expecting it anyway.
Okay, public speak. I guess no public speakers here. We'll pass on continuing business, go to new business, the FY 2015 tax classification. We have Mark, the assessor, and I don't know what information you have you can provide to us, Mark, or Melissa.
I have my packets.
Okay.
Excellent, thank you.
And has this been to the
Thanks, Mark.
Board of Assessors yet to, because they have to generally send us their recommendation, right?
Right, they just voted that tonight.
They did vote that tonight?
Yeah, so that'll be in the minutes.
Okay, and do you know the results? Or
Yeah.
They voted for this
Right.
as presented?
Right. Just a couple things I'll point out to you.
Sure,
On the-
absolutely. Go ahead.
The last page is the minimum residential factor, which is what you're going to be voting on at the public hearing.
This is that number 7, where it says minimal residential factors?
Yes.
Minimal allowable percentage of tax levy. What's the 92.4586, what's that signify?
That's the, like if we were to shift the tax burden, the minimum residential factor would have to be that 92.
Okay.
But we're not doing that, so.
So you're saying if we shifted to a dual where the business paid more,
Right.
you'd still would have to do 92% to residential and
Yeah.
less than 8%, 7.5 to business?
And then, yeah, I did a little example. We just shifted it on page 3. We shifted it just 10%. The residential tax, average taxes would drop about $51.
What page are you on now, Mark?
Page 3.
Page 3.
in the middle.
And this is just shifting it.
Oh, okay,
This is just using a shift at 10%.
okay.
The average value of residential property would see a drop of about $51.
$51.
But the commercial industrial would increase $746.
$746.
And then starting on the bottom of that page, and on to the next page.
Yep,
I listed the fiscal year, tax years,
Mhm.
07 right through 15, and it shows the percentage of the, tax levy per class.
okay.
And just pointing that out because, see, in 07 it was, in 08 it was almost the same, 88.69 for residential.
So when you're saying that 88.69, that's the percentage of residential property versus commercial and
Industrial.
industrial, is 11%, so.
Right, and going through all the way through 2015, it's down to 86.623.
So it is going a little, I guess we're getting a little more business as we
Right, right.
couple percent.
Yeah, a couple percent.
That's a significant change considering when I go to gangbusters for industrial and commercial development.
Right, well, you know.
But I think that-
And actually, what changed a lot of it was the solar farm, because we classified that as personal property. So personal property actually went up quite significantly.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
Anything else, Mark? You want to-
Oh, I think that's it.
I have a quick question.
Oh, oh, yeah.
But I mean, a little aside.
Oh, go ahead.
So if you had something.
No, I just wanted, I always get, I hate to use the word confused, because that makes me, so.
Now, where we stand
I've never
on-
seen you confused.
Now, where we stand on tax rates,
No,
the assessors have submitted, we submitted our sales, which have been approved. Our sales analysis has been approved. Our values have been approved, and our new growth has been approved.
so is the tax rate set, or not set?
No, we still,
No, we can't set it
Until-
until you decide that it's.
That
gonna
we
be-
do this? or-
Yeah, until you vote that it's gonna be a single or split.
Or split?
What do we have for new growth?
it was 212,690, I think that was.
It's probably. I think it was 212 or 213, that's all I
Yeah,
remember.
212,690.
No, what I was getting a little confused on is the explanation of what, like the exemptions are. In other words, we always don't grant, am I right, in the past, we have not granted like small commercial property exemptions, we have not granted, I don't, can you go over those, what they are exactly?
Yeah, the
On the first page, I think it is, right?
Yeah, the residential exemption is basically for communities like down to Cape or Berkshires. And what they do is they adjust the value down because, you know, a lot of vacation homes are mostly high value, where the average citizen of that town would pay nowhere near that.
So that's the one, the number 3 there, the granting
Yeah.
of residential, okay?
Yeah, and basically it's commercial exemptions, kind of the same concept. But what that does is pass the burden on to the other commercial taxpayers.
When it says small commercial, I guess here's my question, and this isn't necessarily for this year, but say we had a big growth in business, say we had maybe a couple of major industrial things, I don't think this is necessarily here in the cards, and where the commercial and industrial really grew, so maybe we wanted to look at a dual system. Is there something for small businesses, is that something you could use for small businesses to reduce their burden, or no?
No, because what this does is it increases the burden to the other commercial industrial taxpayers.
Okay.
So no.
So if you did-
So say you did it for, say, businesses on Cottage Street here, that means,
The other businesses would have to pick it up.
right.
Gotcha. So it really is a shifting of the small, you could do that if you wanted to help small business, if you had in a community that had a lot of large business or industry. You could shift a little more to them at the benefit of the small
Right,
business.
but
But we don't have the, it's not, if we go to the one-to-one, it's mute anyway, right?
Exactly, and the other thing is, we get personal property from a lot of these, which I
Like the-
talked to Karen
Like the
about.
medical building.
About increasing the personal property, from, you guys set it to 2,500. If we could increase that to, say, 5,000, that would help a lot of small businesses.
And how
A
about,
lot of them don't stay in business that long.
right, oh no, I realize. what you
And we
mean.
get hundreds of bills back in the mail.
We had made a change 6 years ago or so,
Yeah, right after I
from
zero.
0 to
2,500.
2,500 is the minimum
Right, and the state
amount of
allows.
personal property. If you're at least at, you have to have $2,500 or more in order to pay a tax
Right,
as a business.
right.
You're saying the state allows
Up to 10,000.
as an exemption,
Right.
and you're saying we may be getting more bills back
Yeah,
than
we're getting more
it's
bills.
worth the collection.
Yeah, I mean, if we looked at our average new growth just for personal property, this year, personal property new growth was 3.1 million in value, and the average is 3.4 million. That's quite a bit,
That's a lot, yeah.
and that would cover anything that, we did. So say we increase it to 5,000, just new growth alone would cover
Cover all the...
all what we don't tax.
Right. I certainly would want to, be willing to entertain any numbers that you had that would show, hey, listen, we're sending out 500 bills, and, 350 of them are coming back, and we're collecting some minuscule amount of money on the 150 that didn't pay. It doesn't cover the 350. Okay, if you have figures like that, I think we'd like to hear those. If the figures are such that we still have a positive revenue and it's not a drain on the staff time, well, let's keep collecting the revenue. But if we're losing, we want to know about it because we don't want to have you spending your time.
It would help our staff time, between my office and the collector's office. Because all the bills come back to them, they send them down to us.
Right.
And, we don't, these
So-
people move, and they move out of town.
I don't know what your thoughts are.
Yeah, I guess I'd like to see a little more documentation, maybe.
Yeah, if we had some numbers,
Yeah, after we get settled with this.
sure, whenever we get settled.
It's something we can do,
Yeah.
it's going down the road. And how about open space? That's in,
But the open space is basically what we have,
again, on number 2 on the front there, Mark.
open space is basically what our chapter land is.
Okay.
Refresh my memory on the chapter land, it's 61A and B?
61A and B.
61A and B. And those exemptions cover forest land,
Forest land,
farmland, and if, let's say, that somebody buys for 10, you have to pay back the taxes for 10 years, should you sell the property? Is that what the
It's
rules
five,
are?
they've been changing it, and they just changed it again. I gotta
Changed
look
it
into
again, oh my gosh.
But it's 5.
This is tough to keep on top of.
I know, it's 5 years rollback
5-year rollback.
at 5% interest rate per year.
All right, so 5% interest per year for a 5-year rollback should one of the chapter lands be sold.
Right.
So all the taxes get, no penalties, there's no penalty
No.
involved. It's just straight tax plus 5% per year.
Right.
For how many years?
Compounded or not compounded?
Not compounded.
Not compounded,
For how
okay.
many years?
5 years.
Oh, 5.
Yeah.
5%.
For 61A and B.
Right. And the city has right of first.
The city has the right of first refusal, so if we have money in the CPA or other, and we're interested in the land and preserving it,
Right.
that certainly makes sense. We always like to see our farmland preserved here.
Yeah.
Do we know an approximate percentage of the farmland and forest land that we have that's in chapter? And that's a real, I know you may not be prepared for that type of a question
Yeah,
tonight.
no, I don't know the percent.
You can let us know later if it's
Yeah.
not off the top of your head.
Yeah, I don't know the percentage. There's only one property that's in forest land,
Okay,
who has forest management.
okay.
So Dave used to be on the board of assessors years ago. Was on Mountain.
Oh, I know what you mean, Lawrence. Lawrence? They have-
No,
Oh, it's
no.
not them. They have an agriculture.
Anyway, so somebody,
Yeah.
one landowner has a forest plan in place.
Right.
But we do have lots of farmland.
Yeah, and the rest of it's all farmland. And there's one recreational where the,
Hendrick Street.
no,
Isn't he at rec on,
Yes.
on Northampton Street.
At the end, yeah, on Hendrick Street, yes.
Oh, yeah.
So
Yeah,
I'd be
so-
interested in knowing what percentage.
Yeah.
At some point, after we get through everything.
Yeah,
It's a good, to stay on top of, because we want to make sure we have the availability to keep our funds and protect our working funds. Very
Absolutely.
strong about that one.
I agree with you, Jay.
Let it be said.
I agree with you, JP.
I did have a question regarding utilities. It's a little bit not directly with classification, but it is an assessor question, so if you don't mind, that would be. Verizon, Charter, Tennessee Gas, and Kinder Morgan, let's see, who else? Wamiko, all have lines. Do we tax the line? Do we have revenue
The pole.
stream from each and every one of those?
Yep, all the poles and lines.
All the poles and lines. What about the gas pipeline?
The gas pipeline gets taxed.
It's taxed.
Those are all centrally valued.
Centrally valued from the state?
From the state.
Yeah, they give the value?
Right.
Okay.
Yeah, they report directly to the Department of Revenue.
Mhm. Good.
But like that's just the poles, the equipment for West Mass Electric, Verizon equipment here at the relay station,
Yep,
that gets reported to us.
okay.
Columbia Gas.
Yeah, Columbia Gas, Charter Communications, DirecTV.
Mhm. Good. Thank you.
Mayor, or Melissa, you concur with the board's recommendation, or is that what you'd like to see, the one-to-one?
Instead of a
Like a
separate
dual.
for commercial, yeah, no, I
You-
agree with this. I think we've kind of been over that a few times. We want to remain pro-business and attract business, and I think that makes us attractive, having the single tax rate.
Especially when Holyoke next door.
Exactly.
Commercial rate is $40.
Exactly.
Okay. This obviously requires a public hearing, so what I'll do is, I'll set a public hearing next Wednesday, would be the first meeting in November. That's as soon as we can do it, and that will give us one more subcommittee meeting to let Councilor Rist weigh in, and I believe that works. Correct?
Is there any timeline on this?
No, we're pretty,
I think we have to do it before the year. right? So
Before the end of the year, I would think.
yeah, but I mean, this is considered early,
That's very early.
especially compared to last year.
Yeah.
You know, it's our revalue, so.
So this is good, yeah.
Let me just check that. So if I set the public hearing the 15th, we don't have the 29th, so it would be November 5th, right? It would be November 5th.
Is that too late?
I don't think we can do it before that anyway,
No, because you got to call it everything.
because I got to call the public hearing at the next meeting.
Right.
And that'll give us one more subcommittee meeting for, as I said, Councilor Rist, and if, JP, if you have any questions.
I don't have any other questions. I'm totally in favor of a one-to-one rate at this time. I don't think Easthampton is in a position to create a burden on its businesses. We need to remain friendly with our businesses so that we can create that increase in the number of commercial properties and the value of our commercial properties, and these would be our residential properties. So I'm all in favor of one.
Okay, and as I said, we'll have next, yeah.
If it changes, it will become,
This still.
we end up like chicken,
still follows
zillion
the same
commercial and residential
Yeah.
properties.
Then
Hey,
we
it's time
change
to
it.
relook at this, but right now, I think it would be very prudent.
And as I said, we'll have next meeting to, if there's anything, we go through the packet, and there's any other questions. You don't have to appear at the next subcommittee, Mark, unless we have questions, or we'll get them to you, and I'll email Councilor Rist and see, do we have an extra one for, I'll just put it in his box, and
Now, what date were you looking at now, for the public hearing?
November 5th?
November 5th would be the actual
Full city.
public hearing.
Before the full city council?
council.
Wednesday, November 5th?
I won't be here.
I'm not going to be there. Can you send at least a well, we have the
Yeah, one of my
documentation, that's
board-
pretty much like a.
Or can you send maybe a board member?
Yeah, one of the
Like
board members, so, yeah.
Peter or something. You send him, and then, if, you know, he can.
Unless you think we should wait another day.
Well, I get, Melissa kind of.
No.
Right, I mean, I don't want to get down
So we
where
don't
if you
wait.
have something else come in that's later.
It'd be good to have somebody from the board.
But I mean, if someone from the board comes.
Yeah.
And then if, you know, as I said, between now and then, if JP or myself, or, and again, I'll let Dan know if they have any questions of you to answer them, and then hopefully between the board member and the mayor and Melissa and myself and JP and Dan, we can
Yeah.
answer any questions.
And we certainly do appreciate your efforts on this, staying on top of it.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mark.
All right, thank you.
The only other thing, we can't really, I updated on the salaries. I updated our latest sheets, which I gave you a copy somewhere in there. It's probably under the, wherever your example was. And I'll give one to Dan. These were for Dan.
Okay.
Yep, see you, man. You know, again, I don't want to obviously make any decisions tonight, because I think it's very important that all three committee members weigh in on it, but I don't want to go too much longer into the year, because if we decide to do something, it would have to be done by ordinance prior to the start of before the end of the year, so it's, you know, leaving a small window of opportunity. I guess my question is, and I know you're up a little on the what our charge is, and what I had for some general questions was, and maybe the mayor can help out here. If I read the city charter right, our requirement is elected officials and multi-member boards. And so we can make a recommendation on the mayor's salary by ordinance. We can do the city council by ordinance, the school committee by ordinance. Those are all by ordinance, because they're all the elected. Those are the only elected officials that I know of. To my knowledge, the only multi-member board that gets a stipend now is Board of Public Works. I think gets like a $300 stipend, but I don't believe there's any other multi.
Assessors.
Oh, the assessors?
Assessors get a
School
stipend,
board,
yes.
school.
School committee has.
No, the school committee, but they're elected.
They're elected,
Right,
yes. The only
exactly.
non-elected ones are the.
So it's the DPW and
Assessors.
assessors. I think that's,
The Conservation Commission probably should be looked at very significantly, but I understand that there may be a proposal in the works to set up a.
We're looking at a grant
an agent,
application for
yeah.
an agent. a shared
So,
agent.
my inclination is that if we're able to do that, agent,
would be better.
that probably is the way we should be going, because there's significant amounts of work for the Conservation Commission, that we not offer stipends in that regard.
Do you know what the Board of Assessors, just, I know, I'm pretty sure the DPW is $3.
$75 a month, if I recall correctly, for the Board of Assessors.
Sounds right.
Yeah.
Jane, you had all that list
And
from.
I think the Board of Public
what
Works
the
was
boards were making,
300,
for
or
Public
maybe it's
Works, their
was
stipends.
it 900 a year? Was it 300?
I thought it was 3. The school committee is 900.
School committee is
9.
The Board of Public Work is less than the assessor, I think.
Yeah.
less than 300
I think it's like
a year.
300 a year or something per month, I know they're. But we'll check.
Certainly,
Yeah, Barbara has all that.
Then, so my other question was, and I guess this is a question for the mayor, like, there's other, like, when we got our, kind of our things, we were doing population, the mayor's salary, city council salaries, and if you could see, JP, these are council presidents, a lot of
I see
cities
that,
give
yes.
more to presidents.
more for the council president.
And then I did put the clerk, only because they kind of reported it on the clerks. Now, Barbara said that clerks, if you're a city clerk and you clerk for the city council, the maximum you can make is 4,000. That's why you see a lot of 4,000, some are less. The ones that are more are generally a person that isn't the city clerk that clerks for the boards. So anyway, my question, like, is, and I know there's other clerks, like, who would set, if say we decided, I know there's Patty, you used to do the liquor
Right,
board.
that's part of the job description for the assistant.
Okay,
part of that.
so that's part of that.
Yes,
It is-
we've been changing them, those are really good questions, we've been changing them, like Board of Health, we're trying to make that part of the Board of Health clerk, you know,
Mhm.
their clerical staff,
Right.
part-time staff. Same thing with, what do we have now?
We have someone for
planning. What?
We have someone for zoning. We still
Oh,
have.
we have somebody for zoning, so we're trying to.
Nobody for planning yet? They're taking their own still, or there is?
I don't.
I think planning board, Jessica is still.
Jessica serves as-
She's still doing
it. Yeah.
I think she's still serving as,
And like Patty, she does the Board of Public Works.
Yes, she does.
Now, are those, who adjusts those salaries, say,
It's part of their, they put it in their day.
in their
They put
day?
it in their regular work day.
Okay, so she doesn't get
So
anything?
then she could go to a
Yeah.
long lunch and then come to a meeting. and
like
that-
well, poor Patty,
Right.
she's not a department head, so she would be comp time versus flex time, which means you could, earn a few hours a week and then use them later on,
Okay.
that type of thing.
And how about like this zoning, the person that's clerking now for zoning? Is that?
That's a student.
But it's a paid
She's-
position.
Is that a paid from the
Yep, there's
zoning
something, a
board's
little
budget or
line.
whatever?
Right.
Line item?
Exactly.
And there's a little line in for liquor license too, for the hours, for the meeting, just for the meeting.
Right, right. But it comes up, the staffing comes out of my office, but the licensing board does have a clerical staffing line where it gets paid out of.
Right, and I know CPA, because I sit on that, we gave Jamie a little extra.
Correct.
And
Some
and that
hours
came
on
out of the
CPA.
CPA funding. Now, like Barbara, would we have to submit from the city council to you to
For
increase?
budgetary purposes.
If we wanted to
yes.
say, I'm just looking at if we wanted to increase any of it. So it's pretty much up to the
Because-
boards if they're not.
Because she is paid out of that, out of the
City council budget.
Right, she has her city clerk budget,
Right.
which her pay is out of the city council.
So that would be
budget.
something we would have to submit to you, and you would either recommend, not recommend, or whatever, and go through that process. Okay. I just was those, because I know our charge for the count, is the multi-boards themselves,
Right.
not the clerking and
Yep.
the,
And
and the
then those
multi-boards
fall
and the elected officials.
Exactly, and then those fall all underneath the budgeted amounts. They're
Right.
all in the
In the
individual.
individual
budgets.
budgets, you see.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay,
The
go ahead.
Insurance Trust just sent out a survey asking each of the members to fill out the salaries of all of those positions.
Okay.
It's due, I believe, the 20th of this month,
Oh, good.
and then the results will be distributed.
So it'll be all the communities in our trust. That's good,
Yeah,
because a lot of them are size-wise,
So that'll be October 20th?
I believe it is.
Okay. Should be perfect.
Yeah.
That you'll have the results of the survey.
We
Suspect.
know that each of the members were asked to get them submitted, I believe, by the 20th.
Right.
They come in pretty
Yes.
complete, but some communities are better at filling them out for
Right.
others.
We
There's
fill
a lot
all
more
ours out.
salaries in it than you're looking
For
at, but
everybody.
a lot of the positions are
100
there.
requests.
I know, but I mean, I have it from last year. Sometimes they get filled out. Some communities fill them out, some don't. It's a lot of work. As Shane knows.
Right, how many requests do you get weekly?
This is the
You know?
third one I've done in the last 2 weeks.
It's not difficult until they don't compare. You have positions that aren't comparable.
That's
That's what they
that's
try to
what
make
it's
it-
like, apart
try to
from
make it
matching
look-
Yep.
the job titles.
Right.
Right, that can be hard.
Because then it's like, okay, if we don't have that position, should I fill in something comparable? Or, because for example, the one from the trust asked for police sergeants, but not police captains.
Right.
So it's like, okay, do I put it under other, do I just let it go, So it depends on how much time you want to spend
Researching everything.
researching and completing, the surveys.
What I'd like to do, JP, for the next meeting, so we can, hopefully come to, I can tell you this, and I'll tell Dan, I won't, discuss any of his results, because that would be in violation of the open meeting, but what I'd like to do for the next is just come prepared to, I'd like each counselor to kind of go independently around and decide what, if any, changes you want to make, so that, and let each counselor speak without the other counselors kind of, asking questions during their, like, go through all the positions and the boards, any boards you feel should be given a stipend, if there's any increases in boards, the salaries, which you may want to increase, not want to increase, and let each counselor get out their opinion, then we'll discuss it as a group, but I don't want it to be one of these, one saying the city council should get this, or we should have a council president or the mayor, and it'll just get out. So if each councilor can kind of just say, this is the way I'm thinking, and if we could come prepared at the next meeting to kind of decide if you want to move any of them up, if you want to move none of them up. I don't think we can reduce them, can we? I don't think we can reduce pay. Cameron, can we?
You can.
You can.
I guess we could by ordinance, right?
Well, and then in your budget, when you approve, when you approve the budget, you can, you
Reduce.
have the, yeah, you have the right to
I don't think
reduce.
we'll be reducing
I think I know why.
it. I just have to. That's we could pass it over. Does that make
Yeah, I think it's a
sense?
good plan.
I think that's a good plan. That way, again, everyone kind of can have their say, and then we'll see what common ground we have and what common ground we don't have. And again, I guess what, the only thing, and maybe what I'll try to do between now and the next meeting is go around to the other major multi-boards. And I know, just because we were at the end of the Public Works Board, at least the chairman said they weren't interested in an increase for their. That was just his opinion. Again, we don't have to abide by his opinion, that was just what he said. Again, that was just, he knew we were meeting after, and he made that statement. He said, if you're looking at me, he said, I don't feel we need that was just the chairman's opinion.
Do it. I don't have to take it.
So, but I'd like to also maybe
And
check
it's
with.
not for sure that the same chairman will be the same chairman.
No, and
Next year,
it's
the
not
year
necessarily the
after,
chairman. I'm not saying that, no, I was
Would
just,
somebody else be willing to
but I would like to
undergo
hopefully
the same
between now and the next subcommittee meeting, I'm going to try to get to at least the chair. I can't talk to all the members of these boards, but I'll try to get to the chair of all the boards and just kind of get their feeling if any of
At all their
them.
meetings.
Right, I bet most of us. So I'll try to get like their input, whether they feel they should have a stipend,
Right.
they shouldn't have a stipend, want a stipend. Again, I'm not saying we'll give them one anyway, but I mean, at least I know in the past we've kind of looked, and some don't feel they're serving as, their community service, which is, admirable.
Right.
So I'll try to get that info for the next one, and then, we'll go with that. As I said, at the council meeting, I'll talk to Dan and at least tell him what our plan is, but not discuss what his feelings are, so. Okay?
One thing that seems to be missing.
I did check on the insurance.
Yes.
Because you did, but now under our ordinance, 32B, is it, insurance? Do I have that one right?
There's
by,
no, yeah.
by ordinance, city council members don't get it. Northampton still does get it. Their city councilors still get it. It's active. Certain councilors are taking it over there. And I haven't checked, I've been trying to check some other towns. They wouldn't give me the other towns, only, they said we could only speak for ourselves. We know we're getting it and they're still getting it.
It changed with our charter.
Right.
It was very clear when they did the charter.
When they did the charter, right, that was removed from
Yes.
the 32B,
Absolutely.
the health insurance
Because the
benefits.
selectmen-
Special something employee, it's
Right.
it's a special.
Because the select board used to get a stipend, as you know, and they also were eligible for the health insurance,
Which is a huge.
Which was huge.
Yeah, I don't believe, there's not many councilors in
Our city
Northampton
attorney
are taking
at one
it,
time.
because I think some of them get it through their regular jobs, but there are some people.
Right.
Certainly, if you're counting apples and apples, it's an important fact.
Oh, it's a-
I don't know what health insurance is, maybe, what's it, value?
Over 10 grand,
Right.
easily.
With a family plan, Blue Cross Blue Shield,
$1,400 a month of road.
$1,400 a month is the
Family plan costs like
Is the-
$14.95, is that right?
is the municipal's contribution.
No, that's
No,
That's the
total.
total.
Yes,
So 75% of the 1,400
right,
would be a benefit
Right,
a month.
right.
right,
That's
Oh, yeah.
a huge amount of money.
yeah.
I think Holyoke
Get
offers their counselor.
I could ask,
Our city attorney.
in fairness, and it's probably, I don't know how you answer questions from, but it's, most cities I've tried to contact, they'll say, listen, we'll tell you about us, I don't really want to get into what somebody else is
Somebody
getting
else
there."
does.
So, you kind of got to go one, and Barbara's done a lot for me too, trying to
Yes, with
go
her
through her
outreach.
her clerk thing and getting information, so it comes in, and even Westfield, which, I know a lot of people, I'm 99.9% sure their counselors make 10,000, but no one will confirm that for me, so and I looked through their website. So I left it blank on there, I said some people won't be close.
Frustrating.
And I know Boston's up for you see their council salaries?
No.
They make $87,000 now, their city councilors.
How often did
It-
it meet, do you know?
Wait, but they're up for a $27,000 raise, they'll go to $112,000. This is the city councilors, I know the mayor's got a million. Now, they do probably have a little more responsibility, or at least size-wise. No more responsibility, just bigger numbers.
Yeah, exactly.
Just bigger numbers. Although the mayor said he'll veto it if they pass it.
Do they have to keep
He'll be
office
vetoing his
hours?
salary.
I don't know, I really don't, because like Springfield, I know they make, do I have Springfield? I don't know
They
if I have
have
Springfield.
healthy.
But they meet during-
20 or 30 or something.
Yeah, they meet during the day. You know, they meet during the day, so you gotta cut, I mean, some of them make quite a bit. I mean,
Yeah.
like Worcester, because they're big cities, 29,000. Some are 10, like Agawam's 10. These are city councils. You know, again, Chicopee's 12. But I couldn't believe Boston, and they have a thing, see, I think where they may be in trouble with the state is, you know how our ordinance says if you do pass this, it can't be till the next municipal election, so if we did
Right.
pass this, it wouldn't be, it's not,
Right.
it's not,
2015.
it's not Mayor Cadger's raise, it's the next mayor, whether it's you or someone else.
People think it would affect you
That
at
it's
this
something
point in
that
time.
happens.
It doesn't, it's,
Right now.
but see, theirs goes into effect, Boston's like, it's like immediate, it's like,
Wow.
and they're saying there may be some problems with the state, saying that you can't really give yourself a raise like that.
I'm
You can give a
sure.
raise to the position in the next
And
election.
I'm
could give
sure,
the
because
position in
that's
the next
elected
election,
officials
right.
given themselves.
Right, it's a little,
Right.
I know it's,
Right.
you
You
know,
can see where that was set
the
up.
incumbents probably
Yep.
would benefit, but it's a little bit,
Right.
no. Okay, any other business? Any public comment? We can reopen public hearings.
So not at this time.
Not at this time. I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you.
I know the licensing board at one time was looking for a site.